Hello there, you are welcome to Nana Collins TV. So in today's video, we are looking at the WASSCE 2026 History Paper 1 Objective Test, which is supposed to be 1 hour. Of course, we are not going to use 1 hour. Now, let me say that this paper is not the legitimate WASSCE 2026 History paper, in the sense that this paper is just a try work which was organized by WASSCE for certain schools to test students on the new curriculum in history. So you recall that 2 years ago in 2024, the government introduced a new curriculum for senior high school. And so the 2026 year group or batch are going to be the first students to actually write a WASSCE exams on that particular curriculum. And the mode or the style of questions quite differ from the normal one that we already know of. Okay, and so the objectives, most of them are application questions. So this is just an advice I'm giving to the new students who entered in 2024, in 2025, and in 2026 and beyond. The new type of questions that WASSCE is setting is actually application. So we are going to see a whole total different new type of question. So this was just a try one for the WASSCE, from WASSCE to students to try, because there is no past question on that new curriculum. And this is supposed to be the first past question on that new curriculum. So those who are going to write the WASSCE in 2026, this is a good test for you to try your hands on them. So I'll read the questions out. The answers will come. So as and when I read, you write the answer on the sheet of paper. When I'm done reading all the objective tests, then the answers will come or will show up on your screen. Then you mark it yourself. Then I will add the section B or the paper 2 as well with its answers here. So do not forget to share, like, and subscribe to this channel for more of these content. Share to your friends. So let's begin with the questions. So let's start with question number 1. Good. Let me zoom for you to have a good look at it. So number 1. Two historians interpret the same event differently. One emphasizes economic causes, while the other focuses on political influences. This scenario best suggests that history, so you write the answer on a paper. 2. A government studies past economic crisis before introducing a new financial policy to avoid repeating earlier mistakes. What does this scenario best illustrate about the value of studying history? So history is, you write it on a paper. Let's move on to question number 3. So question number 3. A history student studies traditional beliefs, language development, and social practices to explain the identity of a present-day community. What is the primary purpose of this historical approach? You write the answer on a piece of paper. Question number 4. 2 history textbooks describe colonial rule in Ghana. One is written by a former colonial official and highlights development, while the other, written by a local historian, emphasizes exploitation. Which of the following approaches best evaluates the authenticity of the books? Let's move on to question number 5. Question number 5. A student finds 2 online documents on a past treaty, one hosted on an unknown website and the other on a government archives platform. The student selects the archive version. What reasoning best supports this choice by the student? 6. While investigating a historical famine, a student uses government report, personal diaries, and newspaper articles. All the sources indicate widespread food shortages, though they differ on the causes. What does this suggest about drawing conclusions? 7. During a history lesson, a teacher presents different sides and asks which one provides the strongest evidence of Stone Age life in Ghana. The students analyzed the sites and selected Kintampo archaeological site. Why is this the best solution? 8. During a classroom lesson, learners compared different leaders involved in the movement of the Fanti to coastal areas of Ghana. They noted that Obruman Kuma played a dual role. What conclusion best explains his significance to the migration? Question number 9. A student of history compared several ancient towns and finds that Lay and Se attracted traders dealing in salt, cola, and textiles. What does this indicate about the town, Lay and Se? 10. The Ewe migrated from Yoruba land and settled in their present location in Ghana. Which of the following factors greatly accounted for their migration to present-day Ghana? They search for number 11. A historian compares the savanna and forest regions of pre-colonial Ghana and observes that both had different medicinal plants used for treatment. The best conclusion that explains this difference is that, let's go to 12. Question number 12. A student of history observes that in the Akan kingdoms in pre-colonial Ghana, village leaders reported directly to a supreme leader who made final decisions. The best indication about this political structure is that. Number 13. Which of the following options best explain the advantages of traditional medicine in pre-colonial Ghana? 8. Let's go to question number 14. The Hamatic hypothesis explains African achievement as the result of external civilizing agents. What is the most valid conclusion about this theory? 8. 15. A historian studying pre-colonial Ghana notes that wood carvings were often used in rituals and storytelling. What does this reveal about the cultural role of wood carvings? Wood carvings. 16. According to Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, the process of species change and mutation was derived from. Number 17. Which of the following options represents a common characteristics of African civilization? Let's move to 18. The first ancient town that was known for the cultivation of yam in West Africa was. 19. Which of the following factors was less significant in terms of contribution to the emergence of ancient Ghanaian towns? Let's move to 20. Question number 20. Which of the following options was a key characteristic of trade in pre-colonial Ghana? Number 21. The factor which contributed greatly to the development of industries such as cloth weaving and metal works in pre-colonial Ghana was? Let's move to 22. Which of the following options best explains the role of Africans in the First and Second World Wars? 23. The interdisciplinary approach has helped historians to achieve all the following except. 24. The trans-Saharan trade between West and North Africa started as a result of the. Let's move to 25. Number 25. Which of the following beliefs best reflect how the African religion typically viewed the relationship between the living and the dead? Ancestors were. Number 26. How did religious beliefs and practices influence the social and cultural nature of traditional Ghanaian societies? By. Let's move to 27. 27. The Asiento was a special document that encouraged. Let's go to 28. 28. Which of the following factors significantly accounted for Portugal's lead in sailing along the coast of West Africa? 29. Which of the following objectives was the major reason for the coming of the Europeans to West Africa in the 15th century? 2. Let's go to number 30. How did the arrival of Europeans in Ghana primarily affect existing trade patterns? By. Number 31. Which of the following options best represents how Africans responded to the transatlantic slave trade? Let's move to 32. A major action taken to enforce the Equipment Treaty of 1839 was the. Number 33. One negative effect of the transatlantic slave trade on African societies was the. Number 34. The Poll Tax Ordinance was introduced in the Gold Coast in 1852 to. Let's move to 35. Number 35. A key factor that facilitated European colonization of Africa was. Number 36. One negative social political impact of the European presence in Ghana was the. Let's go to 37. Good. Number 37. The successful annexation of the northern territories of Ghana by the British was aided by a distinguished local surveyor who hailed from Number 38. Railways in the colony were built to connect mines and plantations to seaports rather than linking local towns and markets. The best description of the purpose of the infrastructure development is that let's move to 39. Number 39. In order to avoid conflicts during the scramble for West African territories, the European powers at the Berlin Conference adopted the policy of Number 40. Which of the following options represents the most remarkable influence of the Second World War on Africans? Let me take that again. Which of the following options represents the most remarkable influence of the Second World War on Africans? Let's move on to 41. 41. An important method for territorial acquisition used by the Europeans in West Africa during the 19th century was the Number 42. In what significant way did the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885 change the African? 8. Let's move on to 43. Number 43. A major feature of the indirect route policy of the British in West Africa was Number 44. What was the major demand of the National Liberation Movement, NLM, as a condition for the granting of independence? Let's move to 45. Number 45. The most important method used by the educated elites in the attainment of independence of Ghana was Number 46. Which of the following measures could be described as a major political measure of the John Ejikun Kufuor administration between 2001 and 2009? (47) Number 47. The two major issues which had to be resolved prior to the declaration of Ghana's independence were the Number 48. Which of the following constitutions was a major contributory factor for the granting of internal self-government in Ghana? Now let's move to the last two. Number 49. The Aborigines Rights Protection Society played a major role in nationalist activism in Ghana by Then the last one, 50. The main purpose of the Alliance Compliance Order introduced by the Busia administration in the early 1970s was to... Good. So I know that you have been able to answer most of them, if not all the questions. So the answer will come, and then you mark it yourself. Then you record your marks in the comment section, okay? So after this, after you are done marking, the section B will follow, and I'll take you through the section B. All right, so I know that by now you are done with the objectives. Do not forget to record your marks in the comment section, okay? Good. So now let's take a look at the section B, or the essay, or the paper 2. Bear in mind that you will not be given any answer sheet. So you answer the question on this same paper, okay? On this same question sheet. So the answers will be written on the question sheet like this. So your name will be here, your index number will be here, your signature will be here, then your date will be here. And then lines will be provided in these questions. Lines will be provided for you to answer the questions or to write the questions there. So bear in mind, and if you write too much, it can affect you because there will not be any extra sheet. Is that okay? So don't write too much. Just be concise and straightforward, because there won't be any additional sheet given to you. Good. So let's begin with it. Like I already said, this is just a try one that WAEC did for schools. So this is not the original 2026. However, who knows? They can repeat some of the questions. So you read all the instructions over here, read all of them. And then you write your question numbers over here. Then you write here is not for you, it's for the examiners, those who mark. No, sorry. Don't write anything here. This place is not for you. Okay, sorry about that. This place is not for you. It's for the examiner. Write the questions you answered in the order over here, in the order in which you answered it. So if you answered question number 4 first, you write 4 here. If you answered 5 next, you write 5. If you answered 1 next, you write next over here. Read this and you'll be fine. Good. So let's start with it, with the questions. Okay. Let me bold it so that you can see it clearly. All right. Now you see it says 60 marks. Answer 4 questions in all, choosing 1 question from each of the sections, and the 4th question from either section A, section B, or C. So we have to answer 4 questions in all, and we have to choose 1 question from each of the sections, and then the 4th one we can take it from either section B or C, which means that we are going to have how many sections? 3. So we have section A. We have 2 questions here in section A. This is 1 question under section A. Then we have number 2, of course, question in section A. So these are the 2 for questions in section A. Then we have here section B. We have 3 for questions, or 4 under it. Then we have section C. We also have 4 for questions and direct. So in all, you are supposed to choose 4 out of 10 questions. Now, let's start with the section A. This is the historical inquiry and writing. Answer only 1 question from this section. So this is, how many questions are here? 2. 1 and then what? 2. So you are to answer only 1 from this section. Let's start. Study the sources labeled I, and I. These are the sources. So this is what you are going to use. These images here is what we call sources. So you are going to analyze these images, all right? And questions are going to be asked on these images. So this is where you make a reference or your source to answer the questions that follows. So let's see. Question 1. 1A says, identify the sources labeled I, and I within the context of African civilization. 1 is for 1 mark. So what is this? You identify it. What is this? You identify it. And what does this also stand? Within the context of African civilization. So please don't write here, don't write triangle. No, this is not a triangle. You understand? In history, African civilization, what do we mean by this? When we give you this hierarchy, what does it mean? Okay, so you write them. I'll give you the answers after I have taken you through all the questions. So take your time. The answers will follow immediately after we are done with all the questions. Now, 1B says, explain to relevance of the source labeled I. What is the importance of this source? So this is source I. What is the importance of this? The relevance. Explain 2 of them. So meaning the uses of this. 1C, with your knowledge of history and the sources I and I above, examine any 3 reasons to justify the assertion that Africans were civilized before the arrival of the Europeans. Okay, so looking at these sources and your knowledge about African civilization, I know your teacher has already told you that Africans were civilized before the coming of the Europeans. So use these sources to justify that assertion or to agree to that assertion. Okay, it's very interesting. Good. Let's move on to the question number 2. So this is question number 2. These are the sources here. In question number 2, it says study source G and N below with your knowledge of history. Answer question 2A, 2B, and 2C. This is source G and this is source E. All right. Good. So let me make it bigger so that you can see it well. Good. So this is source G and this is source what? E. And you are being told to use our knowledge to answer them. It says from source G, this one, identify any 3 personalities that were with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah when he declared the independence of Ghana. So the 3, these images here, what do you see there? Who was part of Nkrumah? So this is Nkrumah, right? Yes. Apart from Nkrumah, who are these people? Mention 3 of them. Then we have source B. Question number B says discuss 3 measures Dr. Kwame Nkrumah implemented after independence which demonstrate that the black man was capable of managing his own affairs. Remember, Nkrumah said here in source A, he said the battle has ended and thus Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From today, there is a new Africa in the world, and that new Africa is ready to fight its own battle and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. So here they are asking you from this source that Nkrumah said, discuss 3 measures that Nkrumah implemented after independence. Okay, that demonstrate that the black man was capable of managing his own affairs. So basically, they're asking you to talk about what? About Nkrumah, the achievement. I've just given you a tip-off. Let's move on to 2C. It says, in what two ways was the independence of Ghana significant to the liberation of Africa? How was Ghana's independence, significant to the liberation of other African countries? Good. These questions 1 and 2, you must answer one. It's compulsory. It's called sources analysis. Now here you can answer either 1 or 2 from section B. It says at least 1 and not more than 2. At least 1, not more than 2. So you can answer 1 or 2 from this section. This one, 3A, says list any 3 activities of the Stone Age man. B, examine 4 reasons that accounted for the movement of the Stone Age man from the savannah to the forest zone. Let's go to 4A. List the 3 groups of people in the northern part of pre-colonial Ghana that did not have a centralized system of government. 4B. The Moli Dagbanis easily defeated the indigenous people of northern Ghana during the 13th century. Examine 4 factors that facilitated the conquest by the Moli Dagbanis during the era in question. Let's go to question number 5. It says 5A, list 3 items of trade exported from the West African Sudan to North Africa during the Trans-Saharan trade. 5B, as a student of history, analyze the economic dimension of the transatlantic slave trade. Explain 4 ways the trade negatively affected the development of West Africa. 6A, state 3 foreign groups that interacted with the Swahili civilization. 6B, as a student of history, you are tasked to make a presentation on the major factors that led to the flourishing of the Swahili civilization between the 13th and the 15th century. Examine 4 major factors you would cite in your presentation. So you answer 1 or 2. The same thing applies to section C. Answer at least 1 or 2, not more than 2. 7. You have been tasked to present a paper at a Student Representative Council forum on the internal factors that promoted nationalist agitations in the Gold Coast after 1945. Examine 5 of such factors. Good. 8. Assess 5 measures implemented by the National Liberation Council to address the economic challenges facing Ghana after the overthrow of the Nkrumah administration. 9. Examine 5 roles of traditional rulers in the indirect rule system implemented by the British in the Gold Coast. And the last one, 10. The Dr. Hillel Liman administration assumed power in 1979 and was overthrown in 1981. Despite the short period, the administration still made some great impact on the development of Ghana. Examine any 5 of such impacts of the administration. Good. So these are the questions that you are supposed to answer 4 from. Let's take a look at the answers. Good. So these are the answers, all right? Question 1. The sources were, source 1 was the Great Pyramids of Giza, which attested to Egyptian architecture and monumental engineering. Okay? Good. Source 2, source II, was ancient Egyptian obelisk, okay, which had the writings of the hieroglyphics and other things on them. Then source III is the ancient Egyptian social political hierarchy pyramid, representing a highly organized state structure, centralized governance, and societal stratification. So these were the names of the sources: the political hierarchy pyramid and the Egyptian obelisk. That one, if you're not careful, you might think it was the Axumite stela, the source 2. So be very careful. Or the source II, you might think it was an Axumite stela. Now let's look at the explain any two relevance of source A, and source A was the pyramid, right? Good. So these are the relevance of the pyramid. It served as tombs. It also served as an advanced engineering architectural style. So read for yourself. I'll take you through them. So the questions are bolded. The answers follows. With your knowledge of history and source I, and II above, examine any three reasons to justify the assertion that Africans were civilized before the arrival of the Europeans. 6 marks, so the answers are there. Okay, so please go through the answers. You can pause it and then read through or write it. Then we have the question number 2, or the source question number 2 is also there for you. The names were Kojobo Ochio, Komla, Bedema, and then Akweje, and some other people over there. So they are there. Let's look at the other question. So that is that. The achievement of Nkrumah over there. Help delivery and other things. Then we also have, in what 2 ways was independence significant to the liberation of Africa? So we inspired other nations, under colony. Then we also became a hub for Pan-Africanism, where other nations came. We provided financial support and other things. All right? Good. So let's look at the section B. List the 3 activities of the Stone Age man. We have listed them. Over here. Good. Examine 4 reasons accounted for the movement of man. They are all here. 4 reasons are over here. You've seen it, very interesting. You can pause it. Then we have list the 3 group of people. They are here. That's the indigenous people. Then the reasons that the Moldabanis were able to defeat are also here. Very interesting and beautiful. So just go through them. They are here. Very, very nice. Go through them. Then we have the strategic assimilation and marriages. Good. Let's go to question number 5. Place items that are exported from Western Sudan. They are here. Okay. B. Student of history analyzing the dimension, economic dimension. They are here. Of the slave trade. They are here. Interesting. Let's take a look at this one. All these are economic dimensions. Then question number 6. State any 3 foreign groups that interact with Swahili. They are here. Okay. And then factors that led to the flourishing of the Swahili civilization. They are also here. Very beautiful. This one too is also there. Okay. Great. Now let's look at C. You have been tasked to present a paper. Factors that led to nationalist movement after the Second World War. 15. They are here. We have 1. We have 2. We have 3. And then we have 4. We have 5. Good. 8. Measures implemented by the National Liberation Movement for Council to address economic challenges. Devaluation, promotion of private enterprise, austerity measures, rescheduling foreign debts. They are all here for you. Okay. Now let's look at 9. Role of traditional rulers in the indirect rule, right? Indirect rule. Collection of taxes, maintenance of law. They are all here. Interesting. They are all here. Then we had the last question number 10. Dr. Haile Liman's administration, what he did is here. It's also there. It's also here. This one is also there. And then that one is also there. So yeah, I hope that this is the end. I hope you have enjoyed our lessons. Do not forget to share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. See you some other time.